Honorable MIT Bengaluru Director, Dr. Jagannath Karodi, sir, MIT MUN Director, Dr. Aditya GSS, sir, members of the Secretariat, Executive Board, working hard delegates, a warm welcome to all of you for the closing ceremony of MIT Bengaluru, Modern United Nations 2022. Congratulations, MUNers, for a successful accomplishment and completion of the first edition of MIT BMUN 2022. Now, I would like to call upon our Deputy Secretary General to declare the conference closed.
Good afternoon, one and all present. Dear delegates, I'm ecstatic for the energy you have shown in today's session. You guys have worked together to create the future. MUN is one of the best parts of my life. It has helped me to build up my confidence and has given me the knowledge about world issues. The Deputy Secretary General position was big for me. I've got the chance to lead such a big team with the dais and delegates present. Being honest, I've enjoyed being among you, beside you, and helping you with the fullest of my capacity, whenever and wherever possible. It was a matter of great joy to work alongside wonderful people like you. The most important thing I've liked about you guys is that you have never given up. You have proven that you are the capable ones and you can do it all. I must admit, we can if we want. I believe this session must have been a door to the next world, to many conferences as delegates. Your active involvement in discussions and your personal experiences throughout the session are wealth that can never be spent. We're all here this weekend to represent our countries and push ourselves in debate and pass good resolutions. Although our success in these things aren't important, I would like to talk a few minutes about not success but failure. Having participated in our discussions, we should remember that there is no such thing as overnight success. It's a fallacy, a myth peddled in the world where someone can virally be captivated to fame as an internet phenomenon in a matter of 24 hours. What I would like us all to dwell on this weekend is, as this weekend is drawing to a close, is the work. The process that it takes towards success, towards our goals. The process sometimes includes failure, not winning an award, but focusing on learning and improving. It is amazing so often the time taken to achieve success is forgotten. How frequently we forget what lies beyond the tip of the iceberg, the shadowy part underneath the water. But that part, the part we don't see, the part full of failure, learning, and progress, is absolutely what makes success possible. If we have experienced that success today, it is because we have invested the time and valued experience and learned from our mistakes and failures. So I hope that this weekend you have been brave and courageous in your discussions, have not been afraid to express your views. To those of you who did not win awards today, I keep trying. There are more conferences to get involved in. Learn from your mistakes wherever it's possible. Focus on public speaking skills, take time researching, and gain confidence in the committee room. Being open to improvement is important. Having said all this, we cannot assume that we have all the time in the world to perfect our skills. Our generation, like Picasso, doesn't have 30 years to gain experience before we sort out the world's problems. Our generation has to deal with looming crises imminently. I know that I may not be experienced as many others who have filled this position in the past, but it is an honor to be your Deputy Secretary General for this weekend's conference. To all the winners of the MITBMUN 2022, I would like to congratulate you in advance. And everyone else, I hope you will, as I will, continue to learn through MUN. Now I declare the MITBMUN 2022 closed.
Thank you, Arnav. Now we have Dave Kotari to give us the vote of thanks.
Before that, Yukta, I'd like to cut in and give some of my inputs as well. I believe that we've had a conference which has been multilingual, multidimensional, and more importantly, multicultural. I think there should be at least one input from the Secretariat in the Hindi language. So I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Dave, and I'll just give my inputs. and then we can start with the vote of thanks and the rest of the valedictory. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm going to give my speech in Hindi, since we're talking about the United Nations, which is all about acceptance and tolerance and understanding of different cultures. So why not understand some of our own? सभा में उपस्थित कार्यकारिणी के अध्यक्ष एवं उपाध्यक्ष महोदय, सचिवालय के कार्यकर्ता एवं अन्य सभी सभासद, मणिपाल प्रौद्योगिक संस्थान की आदर्श संयुक्त राष्ट्र की समिति के सचिव होने के नाते मैं आप सभी का इस समागम में स्वागत करता हूं। मोहतरम, हम एक दुनिया में रहते हैं, इसकी विरासत हम है लड़ाई, जंग। संयुक्त राष्ट्र को यूं तो शांति दूत कहा जाता है, पर इस दुनिया में शांति तो नहीं है। आवाम का एक बड़ा हिस्सा कुचले जाने पर उतारू है। मैं प्रौद्योगिकी का विद्यार्थी हूं, लेकिन ये कहने में कोई शर्म नहीं है मुझे कि मशीनें उनके काम को छीन रही हैं। जो आत्मसम्मान बचा है वो लुटेरे ले लेते हैं। सरकारें और तंजीम उनके बाकी आत्मसम्मान की हत्या कर देती है, लड़ा के जान ले लेते हैं, और जो बचा कुचा है वो पेट्रोल और डीजल के भाव उड़ जाता है। लेकिन फिर भी हमारे जैसे लोग इस तरह की समितियों में आते हैं। क्यों आते हैं? हम आते इसलिए हैं कि हम शांति में यकीन रखते हैं। हम आते इसलिए हैं कि हमें यकीन है कि आवाम की रूह में अभी भी शांति बसती है। हम आते इसीलिए हैं कि हम अभी भी संयुक्त राष्ट्र के उन सिद्धांतों को भूले नहीं हैं। हम कल के नेता हैं, लेकिन क्या आवाम को हम नेताओं पर यकीन है? अगर आवाम को नेताओं पर यकीन होना है तो पहले हमें आवाम के बीच जाना होगा। पहले हमें समझना होगा कि समस्या क्या है। पहले हमें समझना होगा कि एक दूसरे से बात कैसे करें। मैंने इस सभा की शुरुआत की थी वोल्टेयर के कोट के साथ। कोट वाज, I strongly disagree with what it is you have to say, but I'll defend your right to say it with my life. वही तो मूलभूत सिद्धांत है संयुक्त राष्ट्र का। That is the core principle of our model United Nations. So with that sentiment, I pass on the proceedings to the Director General of MITBMUN 2022, Mr. Dev Kothari. Go ahead, Dev.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah,
Am I audible?
you're audible.
You're audible and visible. Go ahead.
A very good evening to the Honorable Secretary General, members of the Executive Board, charmed delegates, virtuous volunteers, and my dear Secretary. I, on behalf of Potentia, the MUN Society of MIT Bangalore, and the entire Secretariat, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all speakers for gracing your important work and sharing with us your findings and opinions. Model United Nations is built on open minds and fresh ideas. The entirety of the Secretariat, after a plethora of analysis, believes that the sessions that were conducted in these 2 days yielded the highest level of dialogue among the prevalent topics at the heart of the debate. Personally, these 2 days have been really splendid, inspirational, and engrossing. This event helped us learn a lot of new things and examine our forethoughts. And I believe the Secretariat would agree to that, because every MUN we participate in instills a new story in our life that helps us in our journey of becoming a responsible citizens. Aside from all the inspiration we have gathered from this event, we are also fortunate enough to have been engrossed in all the drama. We saw how our Honorable Prime Minister of India got assassinated in one committee and how he got bombarded in the other. We saw how our peaceful city, Athens, was devastated by nukes. We encountered the chemistry between Amit Shah and Smriti Irani of how after every fluke that Amit Shah embarks upon, Smriti Irani always runs and backs it up by facts. The Secretariat still curious about the way our presidents, the Secretariat wouldn't wish to comment upon. This type of incident cannot happen overnight. The wheels start moving about a month ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye detail. We have been fortunate to be supported by a team of very active and dedicated volunteers and Secretariat members. I would like to thank Mr. Aryan, the Secretary General of the conference, for aiming big and leading this team in the most righteous way. I thank Mr. Arnav, the Deputy Secretary General. His aerial perspective has remarked to make this event to move ahead in the most prosperous way. A special mention to our birthday boy, Mr. Ishan, the Deputy Director General for the conference. His righteous decisions, strong contact, and our speech has only made for taking charge of all the content displayed on our social media and directing the delegates in the right direction during the pre-conference. I thank Mr. Aisha Zakir, Chief Correspondent, for her wittiness and forwardness and for providing us with the best press correspondents we could have ever hired. I thank Mr. Deepesh Gaur, our USG for technical head, for all the creative videos that are edited by him in a very short period of time. We cannot thank enough to our honorable executive board members, head chairs, rapporteurs, and crisis director. Your effort will always be embarked upon. You have set an example of an ideal adjudicator. As most of us are from a science background, you might relate to it. We cannot appreciate enough of the front end and the back end skills that you guys have showcased in these 2 days. I'm very grateful to our very hardworking team of chief correspondents and translators, Mr. Chirag Kandige, Mr. Ashwin Chandak, Mr. Sankeet, Mr. Miss Snigdha, Mr. Pranav Krishna Pillai, Mr. Jariel Satak. I want to extend my gratitude to our web partner, Codex, led by Mr. Vedant, our graphic partner, Animation and Photography Club, led by Mr. Advay, and our beloved content partner, Mimansa, led by Mr. Abhinav. I thank all the technical and clubs of MIT Bangalore to Dutch in and help us for always aiming higher. I thank Astronomy, AIML, Akshay Urja, ARC, Codex, Mimansa, and Sina for helping us at the right time. I would like to thank our video editing team led by Mr. Satvik and Mr. Allen. I'm also very grateful to Ms. Miti, our senior content developer, a very talented composer, for always providing us with the perfect content in a very brief period of time. I'm very grateful to our MUN coordinators, Dr. GSS Aditya and Dr. Suman Das, for understanding the requirements of the team and providing us with all the resources and help. A special mention to our venerable director, Sir Jagannath Korodi, for being the catalyst that inspired us to do our best and stand as a pillar of power. Delegates, 2 lovely days and tons of memory to sleep with. We really appreciate every individual's research and oratory skills. Potentia has encoded a lot of potential future leaders. We really want you to be a part of all the MUN that Potentia organizes in the future. So please keep in touch. Over to Yukta and Aryan to head over to the most awaited part of this meeting we all have been waiting for. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dev, for that heartfelt thanks. Thank you, Dev, for that heartfelt vote of thanks. Yukta, please proceed with the rest of the event.
I would like to call upon our Secretary General, Aryan, to go ahead with the prize distribution.
Okay. So since I rudely interrupted, I'll apologize to the Under Secretary General for Public Relations and moving on with the function. So now we get to the part that everyone really cares about. No, you were not really listening to when I was speaking. I hope you were listening to that heartfelt speech by the Honored Deputy Director General and by the Deputy Secretary General. But now I'll get to the part which everyone really cares about. Let's start with the valedictory. So we'll start with the most, let's say, a conventional committee that we had, which have featured some really technical debates and high-level argumentation, the United Nations Human Rights Council. I'd like to invite the head chairperson for the same, Mr. Jatin Juneja, to give a few comments on the committee, and then we'll announce the results.
Good evening, delegates. So I was the head chairperson at the United Nations Human Rights Council, which had the agenda of combating the refugee crisis in South Asia with special emphasis on Afghanistan and Bangladesh. Considering the recent events, I thought it was a great topic and the delegates were great, and all of them had their unique aspect to the agenda, and the humanitarian aspect was very well touched upon, which I really liked, and the delegates were great. And so was and a huge thanks to the secretariat for always being available and assisting us with all things possible, and even serving us with new platforms, and to provide us with this platform too. Thank you. I hand over to the Secretary General for the award ceremony.
So I'll be announcing there are two high commendations in this. I can't say that I was observing the entirety of the proceedings. That would be a blatant lie, but I did come for a bit. The Deputy Secretary General was also present in the committee though, and from what the feedback that he gave me, it was one of the most amazing pieces of argumentations he had heard in a long time. So without further ado, there are two high commendations. The delegates from Israel and UK get the high commendation. So applause for them, I suppose, and whatever applause is in an online platform. And then the best delegate goes to the delegate from France. So good on you, gentlemen. And now moving on to the next committee, the All India Political Parties meet. It was chaired very competently by Mr. Somay. Somay, if you could give a few inputs on the committee, and then we can announce the results.
Good evening, everyone. So our agenda was actually analyzing the efficacy of Article 19 of the Indian Constitution. And those who are familiar with it would know that it pertains to the freedom of speech and expression that our country guarantees. So seeing as how the recent developments have been in our country, we thought that it was a very important agenda to be discussed, and the delegates definitely presented their best foot forward. We felt that some delegates were extremely researched. They had researched legal commentaries. They provided some really ingenious solutions that we did not think of could be presented in an AIPPM. So we are very satisfied with the committee, and now we move on to the prizes.
Okay, so first I'd like to apologize to the head chair and the co-chairperson because I was troubling them all the time. I was staying in that particular committee. So without further ado, I'll announce the high commendation. The high commendation goes to the delegate representing Smriti Irani. So a round of applause for her. And the best delegate for the committee is awarded to the delegate representing Shashi Tharoor. Once again, high commendation goes to the delegate representing Smriti Irani, and the best delegate goes to the delegate representing Shashi Tharoor.
And a very special mention, I would like to give a verbal mention to Mr. Manish Tiwari, who was nearly on equal terms with both of them, but he lost out on the points.
I did hear a few of the argumentation from that particular delegate, and I think, sir, your points were excellent. You lost by a very, very narrow margin. Okay, moving on to the last but not the least, but definitely the craziest, the Joint Crisis Committee. First, I'd like the head chair to give some inputs on it. Anshuman, come on.
Thank you, Secretary General. It's been an honor to serve this committee as a chair. In one word, I would define this committee to be wild. Okay, the delegates were a bunch. The bunch of delegates that I got were, in my opinion, the best set of delegates that I've ever chaired in my whole chairing profession. The next up, the delegates, your directives. Oh my God, your directives were so detailed, and I am pretty impressed by the amount of research that have been given into those directives. And me and my co-chair and the entire executive board is grateful to have you guys as our delegates for today. I am also going to thank the Secretariat board for providing all the assistance and making sure this whole event is successful. And yeah, that's my remarks, and you may have the floor, Secretary General.
Okay. So yeah, I was in JCC for quite a while as well, and look, my background is not in crisis committees, so I did not really understand what you guys were doing, but it looked pretty amazing to me. So, okay, without further ado, I'll go ahead and talk about the results. There are two high commendations again. High commendation goes to the delegate representing DPRK, North Korea. And the second high commendation goes to the gentleman from the French Republic. Again, high commendations to French Republic and North Korea. Now, the best delegate, it was a good day for Tel Aviv, wasn't it? The best delegate goes to the delegate representing Israel. So a round of applause for all of them. With this,
I would like to
done with the prize
also
distribution.
have a couple of verbal mentions if I am.
Please go ahead. Please go
Yes,
ahead.
thank you.
Please
Thank
go
you, Secretary General. I would like to give a verbal mention to Delegate of Australia. Delegate of Australia, your directives were extremely good, but you did not speak much in the committee. As a result, we couldn't hand you the best delegate. And the Delegate of United Kingdom, your directives as well as your speeches were extremely detailed and valid, but you lost on some points, and I will wish you very well.
Moving forward, Secretary General, I would also just like to give a short note to all my delegates. As
Please,
Chair Anshuman said, that this is one of the best set of delegates that I have chaired in my MUNing spot. So the special mentions that I have are for the delegates of UK and for the delegates of China. Delegate of UK, you were really commendable, but you missed out on some points. And the delegate of China, you spoke especially well, but then again, just a few bit of points. But please don't be disheartened. All of you did a great job. Okay, so yeah, that's there. Over to you, Secretary General.
I think those verbal mentions were richly deserved. And I think aside from the ones that have won, the level of debating and argumentation in all three committees was exceptionally well done. Now, I'm at the end of my prize distribution bit. I'd like for Yukta to close the ceremony and not inconvenience the executive board and the delegation any further. Go ahead, Yukta.
I would like to call upon Ashan. I think he wants to give some instructions.
To all the delegates who won the high comms and the festival, please text me on WhatsApp your phone number, your email ID, and the college which you come from. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashan.
Can you please repeat?
I mentioned that all the delegates who won the high comm and the best delegates can please text me their phone number, email ID, and the college/school which they come from.
Thank you, Ashan. Thank you, delegates. I think you guys can leave now.
Thank you for visiting us. The participation certificates will be sent to you in due course of time. The merit certificates as well will be sent to you at the DDG's discretion. Requesting the Deputy Director General to share his number on the WhatsApp group. There's a query from a delegate.
Sure, sir.